Hello there.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thunderdome. This week's podcast
Okay.
is centered around me.
Yeah, so Luke's going to start off pretty strong here, and then he'll slowly get quieter as time goes on, but let him gas
April
himself.
showers bring May flowers. We're entering a new month, and
Nice.
we're having a
already
good time.
entered.
Everybody's having a good time.
I
Okay.
hope.
Thank you for watching up to now.
Luke's
Okay.
gonna currently get a number one.
Luke, do you have anything to say to your fans as of now, or?
The fans, I'll remember you when I'm big time, and not that I'm not big time right now. I'll remember you all.
Okay. Very kind. Very kind. So, recently we've been watching Harry Potter, and this is your
Yes.
first time, right? Right, Luke? Or should
Yeah,
you-
first time watching like maybe fifth, fourth, and fifth plus.
All right. In what movie is Hermione the hottest?
The last one, you sick man.
You can't
Okay.
try to make
what?
Luke look bad.
You
That's not-
sick
what?
weirdo.
That's a perfectly reasonable question to ask somebody.
It's not because she's like 14 in most of them or younger.
Like
Okay,
10 or 11.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that for a long
Oh,
time.
you
That
didn't
was
know
the
that?
age of
Oh.
consent. So,
Oh, true.
In the first movie.
don't try to shame me because morals used to be relative.
No, morality is not relative.
Used to be, and it definitely has changed over the years. I'll give it that.
I don't know if I actually agree with that.
You don't agree with that. At one point, like, you don't think people's morals were a little bit different than they are now? Maybe
Yeah,
even
but
for
doesn't
better
mean
or
they're
worse.
relative.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff was more acceptable, back in the day.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that back then morals were relative.
So you're saying
Yeah,
there
I
were
mean-
more bad people then?
No, I'm saying that morals have always been objective,
Well,
as far as I'm aware.
I don't think that's actually technically. I don't think that's possible because there's things that apply to morality now that didn't apply to morality back then.
But it doesn't mean that we knew all of the correct morals or still even know them. I don't think we know them now. But I do believe that there are objectively like right and wrong things. Yes, there's some gray areas, maybe, but I don't think that morality is relative. Like, I don't think you can say, well, this culture does this and that culture does that, so you can't really say which one's better. It's like, no, you can absolutely judge different practices, different beliefs on like a morality scale. It's not going to be perfect, like I said. We don't know everything, but a lot of things I think you can moralize out.
Okay.
Moralize.
And is there anything in the Jewish scripture that talks about this, Jerk? If you want to give us the insight from your
Torah?
upbringing, yeah.
Well, as a non-practicing Jewish
Atheistic Jew.
man, yeah, I consider myself an agnostic Jew, more Jewish in the sense of, it's just my heritage where I come from. But
How do you-
You're in a synagogue.
I've only ever been in synagogues for like other people's bar and bat mitzvahs or whatever.
But how
So
do
not
your
really.
how do your fans feel about it?
My fans, I hope they learn that Jews are not evil from me, and we're not trying to take over Hollywood or already take over Hollywood. And that Israel's government kind of gives Jews a bad name, and a lot of Jews hate that. There's nothing wrong with hating Israel. Doesn't mean you're an anti-Semite. We all want Israel to do well.
Wow.
Okay.
Unpatriotic.
Unpatriotic to say the least.
Mm-hmm. But
Would you do business? Would you feel more comfortable doing business with another Jew? Because we had that conversation with those other Jewish guys, those actual Jews, and they said, I love everybody, but doing business with Goy is dangerous. Remember that, right?
I mean, the majority of them were not like that.
That's true.
A lot of them, like the majority of them,
Were very
just
normal.
Like, yeah, they were like, no, we love everybody. Because I mean, there is.
But some of their words were a little.
Jewish.
Yes. I felt like there was definitely a leaning towards an idea of specialness for the Jews, no matter
I see.
who we were really talking to. Because even
I mean, that's expected at this point.
some really nice guys. Sorry, go ahead, Jake.
I didn't kind of get that, but I feel like the majority of them are Jewish. So, I mean, obviously people kind of feel better about themselves, but I didn't really get that sense of, because I mean, I know in Israel they all grow up with like other Muslims and Christians, because both of those populations do exist in Israel. And I know they make an effort to
bridge the differences.
Try to show everyone that we live together in peace. We're not trying to
So you don't think it's right for people to say that this is a genocide?
I think we need to be careful when we use that word, but like,
because why is this considered a genocide and something like Ukraine or basically other wars are not considered? Like, I'm not hearing people talk about genocide until we're talking about a more Middle Eastern country or like I don't know. It seems a little.
Well, it depends how you wanna define it right now. Like, are they systematically like killing every single Palestinian or whatever? No, but
Russia's doing that to Ukraine.
Yeah, they are, and they have a history of doing that with the Holodomor in the 1930s or whatever, like actually killing millions of Ukrainians with a famine or whatever that Stalin actually made happen.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. The Holodomor was terrible thing. Millions died, millions starved in Ukraine, and I'm just wondering why it seems to me like some people who don't, Jewish or Goy or whatever, it doesn't matter. Some people who simultaneously believe that the Jews should stop the war and like end the fighting, but they also think that Ukraine should keep fighting and basically that war should continue. Like, and what I mean by that is like, Russia has been at the peace table. They are different, of course, but Russia has been at the peace talk table, and I believe that Zelensky has as well. And then I've heard that the U.S. has literally been like, no, like if you want to keep Luhansk and Donetsk, like we're not doing it.
I don't know, but it seems like Russia.
I don't know either.
It seems like Russia is kind of putting forward, unacceptable. That is my assumption. Unacceptable term.
But why is it unacceptable for Luhansk and Donetsk and maybe Crimea to be ceded to Russia? Like that's like a pretty normal. Like
to give up part of their country. No. I mean, to concede part of your country. That's kind of.
Of course, yes, of course. I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't stand for it. But I'm just saying to stop the fucking killing.
They're not gonna to fight because first of all, Russia wants to put a stop to they want to pause on it so they can continue like build up their shit again so they can eventually come back in. That's what they did with Crimea or whatever.
And then once Putin's dead, it's like all bets are off. Like the government can change drastically once Putin dies.
Yeah, they could change drastically, but it was also in their long term. Like you can't it's in their long term plan. Putin's not the only one who
has a vested interest.
Yeah, who is game on doing this, and because they did Crimea and whatever, and the cities of Luhansk and Donetsk, and a little bit around that in 2014. Right. And then they held off or whatever, built up all this stuff or whatever, and then they used it as a jumping off point for.
That was under Obama, right? At the end of his, maybe, or in the middle, I can't remember.
No, towards the end, like 6 of 8 years, 2014.
6, yep.
I guess I'm not really actually very well versed. I think nobody is that well versed in Israel-Palestine situation.
It's so complicated. It's so complicated, and there's so many outside parties who are influencing it, like Iran and whatever.
And something I just recently heard was about the fact that people are saying whatever. What is this saying? From the penis to the pump, be free from the
river to the sea.
Yeah, from the river to the sea.
That's just telling we want to kill you all.
But they're insinuating that they're completely surrounded.
from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free means that from the Jordan River all the way to the ocean or to the Mediterranean,
to the
Palestine
Mediterranean.
is all belongs to Palestine. But I've also heard that
But
it's
wait,
more
let me just
symbolic.
interject real quick. It
But
also
they're also
references
border with
like
Egypt. Like Egypt is also like a part of this as well. Like they're like
they're not getting Egypt.
I think they might not
imagine
be
a line
involved
of
in that, but it's
infantrymen
border
from
with
the
Gaza
Jordan
or
River,
whatever, right?
just pushing all the way to the Mediterranean. That's what they're talking about.
It's basically just taking all of what is Israel right now.
Yeah, it's just saying all that land area is ours.
But the thing is,
And
I've
also it's saying we want to drive the Jews into the sea, which is what they've said, which is basically a call for death to them. Like Hamas has said, we want to drive the Jews into the sea. You know what I mean? So the from the river to the sea is kind of hearkening to like some pretty terrible shit.
But they can't do that. This is like my understanding is this is a smaller,
that's not
weak
gonna
child picking on a giant. Like the amount of money
Right.
that Israel appears to have, and like
it's a child in a cage.
That's the thing is when you have the extremes on both sides,
They
there's
can't
no
even
way
leave
to
the
compromise.
Palestine. You know what I mean? They can't even leave. Like, what the fuck? You know?
I don't really see this being ended or resolving. You think it's going to move into more drone warfare also in Israel and Palestine?
That's a good question.
Because like now that we've seen what like even household drones can do, like imagine that in the hands. Like we've already said this about the U.S. You know, I guess we like what one man with like a couple drones could actually do is one drone even. You know,
right? It's scary to think of it, but it's true.
Like
we've
already
seen
have those archetypes.
We've seen one video I know of drone bombs on Israeli soldiers.
Well, what about in the U.S. though? There must have not have heard, or there must be like something in the news about this, right? Or something.
Yeah, dude. And
how has it not happened?
Happened exactly. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe a lot of maybe a lot of shooters are just dumb as fuck. Like they're literally just like, get the AR. We're doing this.
I do think that if you were to like like mass shooters at their intelligence, I definitely think it'd be sub average. I really do. I think many of them are actually very stupid.
The shooters.
Who is stupid? The shooters?
School shooters.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you need to be particularly smart to shoot unarmed people.
Yeah. In fact, I think the dumber you are, the easier it would probably be.
Well, smart people generally have,
to preserve it
very well. But also, I mean, if you get to that, if you're, not well in the head to that point, then of course it doesn't really matter.
Well, I when you say not well in the head, like I think of it as, imagine yourself with your parents going, "You're a piece of shit." You go to school, they go, "You're a piece of shit. Nobody likes you." Like,
yeah, I mean, it depends. Like the Unabomber or whatever was incredibly smart,
but he was definitely
CIA type shit.
What do you mean that was some CIA type shit?
Well, he was like brainwashed allegedly by the CIA in college, and they were doing like crazy experiments on him.
Was he doing acid? Was that?
Yes, it was acid. And they were like, they were doing shit like, yeah, and then. I believe I can't remember if he knew about it or not, but I think they were like bringing him into a room at like constantly, like every day for like a year or more or something. I think, and then they were like doing really demeaning things to him, like saying like "You're a terrible person, you're a terrible person, or something like that," for like like doing terrible shit to him or something crazy like that, like legit something crazy like that.
I find that so insane to me. Like when me and Jererk are watching, shitty cop videos where they're targeting families. I don't understand how we can have this kind of larger government entity that can do something so foul in the modern era. Like before, it was like everything could easily be under wraps. You literally go to the newspaper and go, "Don't print that."
Right. Or even before newspapers at all, too.
Yeah, but like now that we have so much camera evidence, just like audio recording of people saying this, I don't understand how there's not just one clip and it's like done with. You know what I mean? Like they're done. That's what shocks me is that it seems like there's so many of these clips, and all you hear is like, "Oh, pending case from 5 years ago." Like this shit just doesn't get resolved
Right.
for and any
You're talking
amount
about the
of
police
like reason.
brutality kind of thing, harassment. And,
Yeah. That's like every time we see a video on Reddit, it's just like, yeah, pending case. I don't know. It's something that
oh, I know. I think
that really gets under my skin.
I mean, they lawyer up, and also the crazy shit is that like, I mean, they all have. These are people are all connected to the criminal justice system. They are the criminal justice system. You know, like that word is a compound word for a reason. Like it's one entity, and they're part of it. They are a member of the justice system. So I really do think they shield their own.
Of
Oh
course.
yeah.
And like at the end of the day, I understand why they do it as well. Like we really can't have cops that are
Right.
scared.
Right. No, I agree. Exactly.
But at the same time, like you would suspect that these people actually develop some level of what you even said before, morality, right? Like why does that go out the window? Like why do I feel like that goes out the window once power is introduced?
Well, they've done studies or whatever, like on prison, the Stanford prison experiment, for example, where like they gave random people,
what was
like
the conclusion?
assigned them that power kind of. Well, I don't particularly remember all of the what was concluded or whatever, but they found that the people that they gave the power to, they made people prison guards, and then they made people the prisoners, and just these random normal people, part of the experiment, would just like be cruel and to the
unreasonable
to the prisoners or whatever for no reason,
and
just like power corrupts or whatever. But also like you probably get it in your head when you have power over other people that you are like you're better than them or whatever.
Okay, so out of us three, who would be the worst prison guard?
Luke.
I think it could be Jererk. I actually think it could be Jererk.
Why do you think that I would be the worst prison guard? Me, the person who
I think the power could corrupt you, Jererk. I think the power could corrupt you.
I would argue that the power cannot corrupt me because I've seen.
I'm saying could. I'm saying it's a possibility.
Power could corrupt everybody, but also I don't think I'm easily manipulatable or whatever. I've done.
I might do some shit where like maybe one time you like don't say good morning to him, officer, and then for like the next week he's like not giving you bread or something.
I think that
the rest of the food, but he won't give you the bread.
Sorry, I'll let you go, Jake.
Like like the person who here has a social work degree and has spent a lot of my life trying to help people and learn about helping.
It's true.
And also going into like knowing about these behaviors or whatever of how people get when they're corrupt or whatever, or studying governments and history or whatever, like how it corrupts people. I think I would be a little bit more cognizant of making sure that doesn't happen.
Okay, good argument. Now, Luke, why would you not be the worst?
Why would I not be the worst prison guard? I don't think I get really angry that easily.
But you do get vindictive. I think you like to return a little quips.
I can retort.
You can't tell me that you wouldn't love fucking with prisoners. You can't tell me you wouldn't love that.
Especially if they were dumber than you.
Weaklings or not. If they're not weaklings, I don't care.
What a gang of weaklings. Like they're small. They're tiny men. Yeah,
and if they're like talking shit, then I'd be like, all right, you're going in the cage for 8 hours.
No light. 8 hours? That seems okay. That seems relatively reasonable. I think I would
solitary confinement.
The cage is only like 4 foot by 2 foot.
4 foot by 2 foot?
That's the cage. It's a metal cage in the rec yard.
So where they can't even sit down.
It's in the sun.
No, they'd be cooking.
It's just metal. It's just metal.
They would be cooking. Look, that's a brazen bull.
They're just in a little cage. They can't even move.
A cage or a steel box?
Yeah, it is a box.
We'll call it a cage, or we'll call it a cage. Yeah.
A cage. Okay, that's a little more humane.
Yeah. Yeah, give them a little air, but like we'll give them air holes.
I think I would be a perfectly fine prison guard. I think we'd all get along.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to like get to know the prisoners. Like, what did they do? Why did they turn out this way? I'd be very curious of their
Okay, so
experience.
Jererk wouldn't be the prison guard. He would be the psychiatrist we would have.
Yeah, and then
Me and you,
if
Luke,
he
would be
said
the
that, they
prison
go,
guards.
"Fuck off, you pig,"
Yeah,
and Eric would go, "This guy's getting no food for a week."
yeah. Well, no, what he would do is he'd contact you. He'd be like, "All right, Luke, this is the one,"
Yeah.
and then Luke would start laying into that little Larry.
Making sure just
Yeah, that is one thing that's kind of scary, or like not scary, but just like pretty infuriating. Because I've had like dreams and stuff where like
Where you're in prison?
when I'm in prison and they're like bullying you or something. It's very infuriating.
Well, you
Because
have
you can't do anything back, you know.
well, yeah. I mean, when your life is in their hands or whatever.
Yeah,
And
it's
even
totally
if
in their
you,
hands. They could kill you essentially, and like you wouldn't be able to stop it in
a
some
lot of
sense.
the time they
But there is
allow
like
them to
it's
get off.
kind of a good thing that like prisoners have like a collective like strength. Like there's more of them than there are guards. Period. You know what I mean?
I mean, yes, but can the
That's why I
prisoners
think
really?
rec yards should be like they should always allow rec yards
Why?
where everyone can commingle as long as there's not
So
like
they can,
too bad of
so
violence.
you can give them an opportunity to coalesce in revolt. What do you
Honestly, yeah, to keep them having rights. Yeah, honestly.
Well, I mean,
Keep them have-
there's different prisons.
Well, I mean, they
like,
shouldn't be tortured. I don't think they should be. I mean, depending on what you did, because like I don't. First off, I don't think that like every crime people are in jail for is a crime, like smoking weed or something. You know, shit like that. Like
Yeah, the
but
best-
like
yeah.
non-violent offenders. But if we're talking
exactly, yeah. And if we're talking about like people who've done like actually
Supermax.
bad shit, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, there's
well,
different
even the
yeah,
Supermax stuff, like,
there's low level security prisons. The majority of them where they do have a lot of recreational time and whatever, and just chill like
yeah,
that.
I think
or-
that's
they
important.
just
But
they just
then-
smoke vapes and
Even
hit
with
them.
the guys who are like maybe like one stabbing a year, like I think that's okay to allow.
Yeah, but there are like some like really like unstable and bad people that like have the supermax like 23 hours a day. You're
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What kinda-
One guy
what
was like,
kinda-
I haven't seen a tree in 7 years.
yeah, but I
that
mean,
is insane. I mean, what kind of guy would you be, Jake? Would you be in prison? Would you be a bookworm? Like, what kind of nickname would you be getting?
the leave me alone and don't rape me in the shower, please. I really just want to get out of here, do my
That-
time, and shut.
Jake.
Oh, that's
I'm-
a bad mindset.
Yeah,
buddy.
yeah. Wait, Jake. You just
So,
put a
they love
target on
that.
your asshole, Jake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What the fuck? Me and
I
Luke
don't
are in the
want it.
corner licking our lips, looking
Oh,
at
wow.
I
Yeah.
know. I know. I'd be awful in prison. I admit it. I'd be.
you. Jake.
Very bad.
Jake.
You'd probably get your teeth knocked in at first because you'd be like, no, stop it.
I could try to fight back.
Oh,
But I
but
wouldn't
you'd
do it.
be
You could,
screaming,
like-
"Don't rape me!"
I just
Well-
hope you realize that you'd have to like click up pretty quick. I think.
Find a big, tough white guy. Or I guess,
Pretty-
dude. Well, the skinheads
But
wouldn't
you need
accept
to
you. The
too.
blacks aren't accepting
Yeah.
you. You're gonna have to find a click up with the Muslims or the Jews. The Muslims probably not gonna go well.
No.
I think I could
Who
click up
knows?
with the. Me and Luke could click up with the skinheads pretty easily. I think.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, I think I would get.
I could go with the Mexicans
Knife.
too. I think honestly too.
Well, I don't
Although-
think you look that Jewish.
Worst case.
Yeah, but thinking
Well, not worst
about
case,
it,
because-
thinking about it now, there, the prisons where that they send, like bankers or whatever. I remember
Yeah.
the night of or whatever, in the beginning of that show or whatever, the lawyer has a black.
Skinheads would love Ryan.
He has a black client or whatever, and he's like getting his sentencing, and he gets like, I don't know, 3 years or something. And then they're watching a Jewish banker client or whatever, committing big tax fraud or whatever, and they only give him like probation and a few months or whatever. And the black guy or whatever is like, what? Why do I get 3 years? I didn't do anything close to that or whatever. And the lawyer's like, you want Jew time, do a Jew crime or something like that. And then they probably put him in a not shitty prison, one that's a lot more.
So that's where you're thinking you're going.
That's kind
I
of
think-
funny, but you're not allowed to do that tangent anymore.
I think I would. I think I would go to the nicer prison. I think they would see me as this
I
little
have a-
feeble Jewish kid, and just send him
I
to
see
prison.
that. I can
Yeah, I
see
don't know
that,
how
Jake.
Jews fare in prison.
Well, I think the judge would naturally be inclined to like Jerk.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
naturally
Yeah.
all authority figures don't like me. I think that's just by nature.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think I'm great with judges. I think.
You?
I think I could get on their good side.
Yes,
I
Your
mean, Ryan,
Honor.
you don't
I'm
think
very
they're-
good at. I'm very good
You don't
at.
think they like you?
I mean, I don't think it.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I think after that last big crime I did,
Yeah, the layup. Yeah.
yeah, the
Um,
judges from this point forward are not going to be in my favor.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's. But even before any crime, you just think they didn't like you.
I mean,
Like authority figures. You said
I think
authority figures.
yeah, I think that it happens naturally. I think that I don't help sometimes, but there's been plenty of times where I genuinely believe I'm not causing any friction with
Trouble.
some sort of like authority person, and they find me. Like Mrs. Freeman would just find me, and she would not let me go if she found something that she wanted to get me in trouble for.
You gotta explain to the crowd who Ms. Freeman is.
All right, I guess we'll try to end here. I'll do this story and then we'll let you guys wrap up a little bit.
What's our minute at?
We're at 26, so we're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, high school, Mrs. Freeman, high school teacher.
Should you be naming people like that? I don't know.
That's fine.
There's no reason. Like this is an innocuous story, anyways. Like it's not. It's not even good.
Okay.
We had class, and I remember everybody was on their phone. And then I pulled out my phone, and she got up and like parted the seas of all the students. It was like, Ryan, you motherfucker! You're on your phone. You're on your phone. That's a in class or in school suspension or whatever, detention or something. And I was like, everybody else is on their phone, and she's like, she ignored my statement and was like, are you talking back to me? And I was like, that I'm just pointing out a fact that you beeline for me when there's students even closer to you that you can see with their phones out. And everybody's literally going, ooh. So of course, once they put on the pressure for her, she feels like she's got to like lay into me. And she would be like, yeah, I'm going to walk you down to the office after this, and you can pick up your phone later. That
I've
happened.
had that happen to me before.
That happened more than once. That where it was just everybody around was on their phone. And I'm sure you guys have other stories like that as well, where some teacher person was like honing in on you for some reason.
Oh my gosh. In college I had one.
No names.
Yeah, one teacher who.
Becky Blowjob.
No, it was a lady, and I was kind of, don't get me wrong, like I was zoning out a lot and like just not even paying attention and kind of just staring at the board the whole class, right?
It's not a crime.
Not a crime, but I was doing it like every day, and I was just like staring at the board because I didn't really give a fuck about it. And then she just started going, "Look at me, look at me," and I was going, "Whoa!"
It busted in that song. I can ride my bike with no handle. No handle.
She's like, "You gotta look at me," or something like that. I was like, "Jesus Christ!"
And she was directing that at you specifically.
Oh yeah, I was pretty embarrassed.
She's trying to help you.
Dude, the worst like amount of tension in class I ever got was I was flirting with this Chinese girl in class, and she said like the teacher said something wild like, I know all of you know about the history of Genghis Khan's second son Tribeccus. Some crazy statement that obviously nobody knew, and the Chinese girl was like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, come on, you don't know what that is? And she screamed, shut the fuck up! in a 300-person lecture hall, and everybody turned and looked at me. And I was just sitting there going, God. There's an Indian kid who was sat next to me every day, and we would talk, and he was like, what just happened, man? And I was like, oh, dude, I don't even know. I don't know. But for a brief moment, everybody in the class was like, this Pete. And that wasn't the only time that every single person in that class looked at me. So that definitely
You didn't remember Genghis Khan's son? We talked about this, remember? Chagatai.
Kublai Khan.
I have no recollection, but
no, you remember that, Luke? Chagatai?
Did you guys see the video real quick of the guy saving the drowning orangutan?
No.
The guy's a hero. We'll watch it later.
Yep.
Drowning orangutan. All right, everybody. Drowning orangutan. We'll get back to you guys later. Skibbity skoo to all of Luke's fans. You guys are dirty and disgusting. You smell bad.
All of my
That's not
fans, you
true.
smell nice.
All
Don't
Luke
insult my
fans.
fans.
You smell like
No
mozzarella, dude.
morals. No moral fans.